Okay everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're on Gran Turismo Sport, starting from the back of the grid at last week's daily race seat on our American account. We haven't been on this account for quite some time. Decided to go for a little visit to the America region. It was around 2:30. I had half an hour to go for one race. I had a little bit of spare time before I had to pick up the children from school. So forth. Let's go on our American account and see if we can get ourselves into a podium position from starting at the back of the grid. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit recall for the first 3 laps, but we do have the proper gameplay footage after about 3 laps, but I am using the replay footage for the first few laps, so just bear with it for a little bit as we go into turn 1. Going for a move on a driver straight away who didn't get the best start, and we both come in together there. That was partly my fault there. Didn't really give enough speed, give enough space, and also understeered into the corner and actually slightly tapped him, which then with the pinball physics sent him off into the gravel. So apologies to that Supra driver, wasn't deliberate. However, we were still pushing on and seeing if we could go for a good result in this race. Like I say, we had one shot at this. I had half an hour to see what we could get out of this race and see if we can make some progress on the America region. So obviously this time of day on the America regions is not the most competitive time of the day. It's obviously a little bit behind on their times, 4 or 5 hours, something like that. So you find that the lobby isn't as competitive as it would be if you did it late on the night. However, still was quite surprised at how clean the lobby was in general. Very clean driving going on for this time of day. I'd say the EU at this time of day was probably a lot more aggressive in terms of the driving, but you're going to see straight away catching up to P14. We're going for a strategy of starting on the hard tyre, as you can see there, because you had to use every single tyre in this race. You had to use the hards, mediums and softs, so we're going to go for a 2-stop strategy, and we're only going to do 1 lap on the hard tyre because you don't want to use this tyre. It's slow, you can easily get through the race with the other tyres. So straight away in the pits you can see a few other people going for the same strategy as myself. Into the pit lap 1, going to swap them out and get on the medium tyre. Now the reason I'm going to put the medium tyre on is because we're going to probably catch up them slower drivers straight away. There's no point putting the soft tyre on at this stage of the race, because if we put the soft tyre on, you can see we've got cars in front of us anyway. We're going to catch them cars up and we're not going to get the benefit of the soft tyre. We want to use that soft tyre right at the end of the race when we've got clean air. So we're onto the medium tyres now. We have to make this thing quite long, because what we need to do is catch up other drivers, and then they won't have pitted, so they'll have 2 stops still to do and we'll only have 1, so we can kind of get a pit stop ahead of them, then go onto the soft tyre and try and go flat out to the end, hopefully in clean air. That is the aim of the strategy anyways. We go for a move on P15 down the left hand side, trying to get the slipstream from P14. Luckily he's going to give us that slipstream, and I think P14 just backs out there, doesn't want to try and go side by side through this corner, and we take that position. And now we're behind the Supra, going to go down the right side, outbrake him into the apex, and we've got that position, giving him space on the exit there, and we make our way up another position into P14 now. And obviously we've changed our tyres as we'll have a little look behind, and we see that the Supra, again really unfortunate, has come into contact with another car behind us there and has been sent off into the gravel for a second time. So a really pretty much a nightmare race for that Supra driver, into the gravel, and probably right at the back now with a lot of ground to make up in this race. As we now come to the end of lap 2, and obviously straight away you can say quite a lot of action so far in these opening 2 laps of this race. Obviously with the different strategies people are on, tyres are going to be different. People on medium, softs or hards, you really don't know what tyre you're coming up against in terms of grip levels, and this makes the racing quite entertaining. I wish this race would have been a little bit longer though, because I think it would have been nice to have used that hard tyre for at least 3 laps or so. We need a minimum distance in terms of what you have to use the hard tyre for, at least 3 laps I would say. So yeah, I think Polyphonic could make these races a little bit more interesting if they did that, because at the moment with how short they are, you're just going to do 1 lap on that hard tyre and then utilise the extra grip from the softs and the mediums as we now approach P13. Can we get a move done on this car as soon as possible? Now I'm obviously going very aggressive here. We're going to try and go for moves whenever possible. As we see, we have a little look down the right, he blocks that off, we're going to go left and then cut back, and hopefully he's going to understeer, which he does. We get our car down the right hand side, an absolute textbook move there, up into P13 and heading our way into the top 10 soon. Looking at the cars up ahead, we're very close to picking up a top 10 already in this race, and you can see we've already got rid of one of our pit stops. So far things are looking good. We're going to fast forward the action for a lap or so as we catch up that battle up ahead, as they're obviously still not pitted. They're going to be on slightly more worn tyres because they obviously have been on them from the start of the race. It could be on soft tyres. As we have a car spinning off down the right hand side, you would have just briefly caught that. Going off track there as we pick up that position, and now into P12. and right behind P11. So far in this race, things are going pretty nice for ourselves. We've not had any major incidents. We've been pretty lucky, done some fairly nice overtaking, and now we're behind P11. And these cars seem to be struggling on tyres. You can see. Also, I'm not sure what level of driver some of these were. I think some of these will have been A and A plus, and possibly a few B drivers in here. It's very hard to know at this time of day on the American lobbies what sort of drivers you're coming up against. As we managed to get that move done, I think he just decided to let us go there. There was no point in fighting that, and let me go around the outside as we now approach P10. Nearly into the top 10 in this race. Things going very well. On to lap 5 now, almost a third of the way through this race as we approach behind P10. And can we get through these cars as quick as possible? Now, the one thing we need to do is try and get through this traffic, because if we can get through this traffic while our tyres are fairly okay, once they pit, we'll have a bit of clean air whilst on the medium tyres. As we see, we had a little look up the inside there, decided that really wasn't on. If we would have gone for that move, we probably would have ended up taking out P10. So we backed out of that, wait again, wait for our moment and see if we can get a nice clean exit from this left hand corner. That corner is really good to get good exit from. We get a really nice exit. We're going to go over to the left hand side and try and pick up the slipstream from P9. You can see that P10 is going to actually defend that on the inside. P9 tries to give him the slipstream briefly. We're going to go around the outside. He decides to back out of that one as P9 just clean runs off the track there. I don't know what actually happened there. It's like he didn't even turn. So unfortunately for him, he's off into the gravel. But great news for myself, up into P9 in this race, into that top 10, and now heading for the podium hopefully. Let's see if we can keep pushing and see how far up this race we can get in terms of grid order, as now we see P8 just a little bit ahead of us. How long will it be before we catch him up? It doesn't look like it's going to be very long. They seem to be struggling on tyres, as we have some cars already going in the pits on the soft tyre. Very early pit stop for them softs. I think the softs were easily able to do 6 laps in this race. So what we need now is to make sure that we come out ahead of them drivers, which we do, and we're now up into P5 in this race. However, we have got a group of cars right behind us. They've also just got fresh tyres on, but will they be able to catch us up? Now, at the moment, things are pretty equal. They've done 1 stop, I've done 1 stop, and we're into P5. So we've made very good progress in this race so far, and we still have them soft tyres to go at the end of this race, where we can really put the hammer down and see if we can get ourselves up into that podium position. We've got P4 right in front of us, P3 just a little bit ahead of P4, so podium position is looking like a very strong possibility in this race. As we chase down that Corvette in front of us, this is where we should be able to catch up. The Corvette not as strong as the Porsche through this section, and also I think our tyres were a lot better condition. We pitted obviously a lap, we pitted lap 1, so we got a lap fresher, and I think these are on soft tyres that are dying in front of us. So the mediums obviously holding up a little bit better at this stage. We need to make these mediums last for a few more laps obviously, because we want to have reasonably fresh tyres at the end so we can really push in any clean air that we get. So behind P4, he's going to go to the right side, we're going to go to the left, he's going to put hazards on and let us go through. So thank you very much to that Corvette there, letting us through on the inside. We take that position up into P4 and now carry on over the start straight. As you see, the 2 cars for P3 and P4 pitting them. So we're now up into P2, but where will the pit stop driver come out? You see P2 just in front of us. We're in P3 in the podium position. We've got P2 just coming out in front of us. Now this is technically kind of equal, because he's used his soft tyres up. He's on fresh tyres up. I'm on quite worn mediums now at this stage. We've both got done 1 pit stop. Will these other drivers obviously still have to use their hard tyres? So they're probably going to go through to lap 13, lap 12, something like that before putting the hard tyre on. I can go a couple more laps on these mediums, and then we can put the soft tyre on, where we can really get the hammer down, as you see, straight away into the slipstream with P2. And we've actually got a reasonable gap to P4, trying to push to build up a pit stop gap. That was the aim through this stim. See if we can get ourselves a gap at this stage of the race, so that we can get in the pits, put a set of soft tyres on, get out the pits into clean air and push like crazy to see if we can get a chance of catching up P1. You can see at the moment just under 10 seconds behind P1, and I think P1 has still got to do obviously that stint on the hard tyre. So this could be very interesting. We're obviously all on the same pit. We still all got 1 more stop to do at this stage. We're 10 seconds behind, but we're getting a little bit caught up behind P2 here now, as he's got the indicator on to go in the pits. This is really going to hold us up a bit. You can see the gap increasing to the leader at the moment. We've actually just lost out about a full second in a space of a couple of corners there where we got held up. So that could be vital in this race, and now it's looking like we might have a chance to push for the lead. However, with that little incident there, we might just be short of it. Let's see how this race progresses, as we now 10.5 seconds behind P1 on very worn medium tyres at this stage of the race. You can see the tyres are looking very old as we fast forward the action now all the way through this lap, so that we come to the pit stop phase. We were thinking about, do we do another lap or do we go in the pits at the end of this lap and get them soft fresh tyres? We needed to push. You can see the gap increasing to about 4.5 seconds. I decided, let's risk this, let's get in the pits, let's see if we can get them soft tyres and come out in some sort of clean air. So straight away, soft tyres on, no refueling obviously in this race. It was all about 100% aggressive driving and trying to get that strategy right, as we see P2 go through. Luckily for us though, P3 doesn't quite make it through. That is vital for us. We did not want to get held up there behind another driver. So still in a podium position, and we've got them soft tyres on now all the way to the end of the race. 17-second gap to make up to P1. However, he does still need to do one more pit stop towards the end of the race to put a hard tyre on, and also his tyres are going to be a little bit more faded than ours at the moment. We've got fresh soft tyres, the fastest tyre in this race. I think P1 was on the medium tyres because I think he started on the soft tyres. So now it's all about pushing, as we see on the replay camera how we just got ahead of that driver in P3 there. Vital pit stop, came out in the absolute correct space really. I knew we wouldn't be able to jump P2 because P2 obviously was a little bit too close to us, but now we can try and make our way past P2 as quick as possible as we go through the right hand corner. He's made a mistake, he's on the gravel, and this is a scary moment. We just about missed absolute disaster. Watch this. As we turn left, he just about ghosts in time. You see the ghost kick him. We turn to the left, and that was nearly an absolute disaster. That was nearly the race over for myself there. We would have hit him, probably got a penalty, damage. Well, actually we wouldn't get damage because daily races do not have damage in them, but obviously FIA do. So we could have been spun off, anything. It would have been probably likely that we'd have got some sort of penalty from that. But luckily for myself, no penalty. Quick reactions there with the steering wheel to avoid that, and we're up into P2 now with 100% clean track, clean air in front, no traffic. We can push 100% now on these soft tyres. Can we make this work somehow? He's still got to do a pit stop P1, and he's still got to put that slowest tyre on, the hard tyre in this race. As pushing fairly aggressive on this lap, you can see using all the curb, swinging the car in, braking just before the curb, down to second gear, using the curb on the left hand side, and then very early on the throttle there, purple sector coming up through sector 1. That is what we want to see. Down into second gear for this left hand corner, trying to hug as close to apex as possible before getting on the power nice and early, and accelerating through sector 2, and again with purple there, and then working our way into the sector 3 split at the end of this straight. And having a look on the delta, you can see we're still purple by quite some way. On a fairly okay lap here, using the full width of the track there, onto the grass almost on the left hand side, down to third gear for this right hand corner, clipping the curb, on the throttle nice and early, and this is looking like an okay lap so far. Not amazing, but it's a solid lap. Down into third gear again, using the curb, on the throttle nice and early, letting the grip do the work here with this car. Down to second gear, slightly missing the apex and getting a little bit out of control through there, maybe losing a tenth or so, but still well and truly on a purple lap here, and on for the fastest lap of the race as we go through the final corner and accelerating out and down the main straight. And we're going to go over the line for probably a 1 minute 22.0 or 22.1. Let's have a little look here. 22.0, a solid lap in this daily race C, and that is a nice bit of chunk of time that we would have took out of P1 to lead there. You can see the time just constantly coming down through every single corner. He's obviously on warm mediums, I'm on fresh softs. We're taking every single acceleration zone. You can see that the delta is coming back to us, and we're gaining time. Every single corner with the extra grip we've got is really helping out. As we fast forward the action now, as we're just constantly closing through on clean air, just pushing 100% to try and close that gap down. You can see as we come to the end of lap 11, and we've got that gap down even more. When will he pit though? Will P1 decide to go for that one lap strategy that is probably the best way to do it? I think that's what most people would do, and it looks like he is going to go for that as we come to the end of lap towards the end of lap 12 now. Let's have a little look. Is he going to go for that pit stop on this lap? Not yet. No, it doesn't look like he's gone in on this lap as we keep fast forwarding the action there. You can see the delta constantly coming down, and he's still got that pit stop to go. So this is going to be a fairly interesting end to this race. He's going to have to be on them slower tyres for the last lap, We're still going to be on the soft. However, the soft tyre is starting to wear a little bit for this final lap, but we're going to keep pushing. As we see, we rejoin the action there at normal speed, and now this is going to be it. Where will he come out in comparison to ourselves? He's into the pit lane, he's on the medium tyres, he's got to put them hard tyres on, which is going to be a little bit of a slower pit exit. When you put the hard tyres on, in general, you don't get as quick a pit stop. So he's out the pits just in front of us. You can see there, 2.8, 2.7 seconds ahead. How he's going to have to warm them hard tyres up as well. The hard tyres are not the best tyres when they come straight out the pit. So this could be incredibly close. You can see overdriving the car a little bit there into turn 2, trying to push like crazy. 2.4 seconds, the gap is coming down still. 2.3, 2.2. We've got the extra grip, the extra front end grip, which luckily, because we'd set our brake bias -4 for a lot of that race, we wasn't going all the way -5. We actually still got a fairly reasonable amount of front grip left on these soft tyres, and there is a possibility we can get into that slipstream, which, looking at the delta, it is so close to getting in the slipstream. Can we possibly get close enough to go for a move at some point on this lap? But again, you can see the car is struggling there. Not as much grip as we had when we put them fresh tyres on, but we are gaining all the way through these right corners. We're picking up the slipstream, which is going to lose us a bit of downforce through these really fast flowing corners, but the extra grip that soft tyres should still be able to cope as we get a little bit sideways there, trying to push like crazy into these final few corners, trying to see if we can get in a position to go for a move for the win from the back of the grid. This would be an insane result. However, you can see just not able to do it through the final corner, carrying as much speed as we could with them worn soft tyres, picking up the slipstream, and we're going to come home in a P2 position, just 6 attempts behind the leader. A solid effort. We only had 1 attempt at this. I couldn't go again, had to pick the children up, but what a race. Really enjoyable. Crashes, action, overtakes, had it all that race. Thoroughly enjoyable race. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscription button if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button. I do appreciate it when you hit that like button. If you take the time out to click that like button, it does help the channel out. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll be back soon with more videos and more live streams. Bye, everyone.